Today is February 28th, the last day of February, except when it's a leap year. I am back, and I'm joined by Joe's McFly, BBD. Spring training is underway. Pitch clock. Let's talk about it.
Last of the Mohicans.
Talkin Yanks with old John Boy Jake.
It's a good movie. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin Yanks. It's going to be
How did I say that?
a wonky episode. Myself, Joe's, Big Baby David. I was excited to get back. My best good friend, John Boy, talk about it. And then he had some stuff come up this morning. So he's dealing with that. Send love to the John Boys this morning.
Yes.
Snowstorm of the century. All of it is brought to you by SeatGeek. Make sure you guys go to SeatGeek. Code JohnBoy preseason. And by the way, if you've already used our SeatGeek other codes, this one is good anytime. 15% off any order. So if you're going to George Steinbrenner Field in Tampa for a game, or you're going to a regular season game, maybe even basketball, wherever they sell. Joe's just pointing a hat. Maybe a little WBC action.
Yeah.
Make sure you go to SeatGeek, download the app, and code JohnBoy preseason, 15% off any order. You know it's going to be a kooky episode when the boys are bopping, especially last day of February. I think it's 30 days till baseball.
Think I saw that.
Yes.
1 month
1 month.
until we are watching big league games that count.
It feels a little long.
You think it's far away?
For some reason, I thought it was like 3 weeks away.
Dude, that's what I told. We're entering the spring training vortex. Like, we got all the updates. I was away for those, so we're gonna circle up on those a little bit. We're gonna talk pitch clock. It's the hottest topic in baseball. Excited to talk with you about it, Joe's and BBD. And we'll do a little early hype because I know, Joe's, you might end up looking good. Because there's one thing I've been telling people since you gave me the crazy look in your eye, and I think you gave it like November, December, about a guy named Jasson Dominguez. But we'll get there. Yeah. How are you doing, Joe's?
Doing great. I think Jimmy just took a snow day to play with the dogs in the snow because he wanted to feel like he was back in school. Yeah. And I understand it.
This is going to be the first time Baby James touches snow. Didn't bring him outside.
No, they probably made him touch snow last year.
Yeah, but he wasn't
talking about here.
He doesn't remember that.
He doesn't remember that.
No way.
I don't remember the first time I touched snow.
There's a video.
No, my family doesn't film stuff.
Yeah, Jim doesn't film anything.
So what to watch for a video of Baby James smiling when he touches snow?
Yes.
It's probably already out there.
Yes.
What's good, Joe's?
I'm excited for baseball. We get back, wedding. And I feel like it was the perfect time to schedule this. So thank you, Jake, for getting us ready now. I came back ready for baseball. I was on the plane, looking at stuff, trying to look at people in quotes and different stuff. And the hype is there. So I'm ready. I'm ready to see some ball games.
I overdid it for my spring training because I came in that first Sunday, the 2 games going on. Yes app on the phone, MLB Network on the TV. Yanks go up 4-0 both ways.
Yes.
It's our year. What's the Yanks record, Joe's?
3-1. I don't want to say it, but I might as well say it.
Joe's very casually dropped earlier that he was excited the Yankees are 3-1 in spring training, which is a sign of true fandom. Joe's, I've got to circle back on some stuff. I'll do it quick because while I was gone, BBD, Jolly, Jim, they were holding down the ship. And they did a couple episodes. They did a big trade episode where they went through everything. The only thing I have to add is that it's all a ripple effect from the Sonny Gray trade.
Yeah.
Because they traded for him for, I think, 2.5 years / 3 playoffs. And it kind of changed the outlook of everything because they ended up, they brought in a guy who they thought was a 2 or 3 starting pitcher. They end up dumping him for a prospect.
Yeah.
And I think that just changed how they operate. And you can do prospect capital all day. I don't know. It was funny. It's fun to appreciate the little moves that it feels like Cashman is so good at. The Urshela's, Wandy, Talkman. Talkman got a lot of love on that episode. Voit. Although that Gallegos part could still be a little...
Nestor was a trade, no? Or was he released?
I don't think we get credit for that because
No,
he got released.
He
got released.
Like he was originally a Yankee and then he went away, but they've only acquired him without like giving up players for him.
Whoa, Peeps. Almost
Whoa.
tossed his dunks. Can we say something real quick? Thank God for Nestor.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
That's nuts. So that was a fun episode. I liked you guys going through that. And then I was kind of bummed because, spring training's a reverse bell curve. Mm-hmm. Like, you get that huge hype at the start. We're still in it. It's starting to come down a little bit. Like
this time next week, we will
I
be
missed
firmly out.
The Rodon quote was so good.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's
basically saying San Francisco Giants baseball does not matter. That was tough.
Yeah.
Like you can... That's what I liked about it. And this is obnoxious Yankee stuff, but it's talking Yanks, babe. You can say, like, I want to play under the lights in New York City. He didn't have to say it to San Francisco.
How about welcoming the boos if he sucks?
Yeah.
Right now, he can never...
That's smart.
He can never complain about boos.
That's smart. And then also Oswaldo with just, my favorite position is wherever the coach tells me to play.
Yeah.
He's the best, dude. I kind of forgot. Like, I've just been kind of doing the, normal off-season, well, he's a kid. Let's see what it looks like. He's a stud, dude.
This is what happens when...
Did you see the play he made at third last night?
Yes. That was...
And that's what, his fourth position?
I play baseball. What position do you play? Baseball. That's what I play.
I love
But this
that.
is what happens when you have a captain on the team.
You're going there. You're giving Oswaldo's credit to Judge.
I think he left a really good impression on him last year, and then I think that kind of trickles down.
Oswaldo's given a lot of love to Hicksy on helping him out with outfield stuff.
Dude, and quick thing on Hicksy, again, in the offseason, you say a lot of stuff, right?
Yes.
You're like, I think Donaldson or Hicksy probably doesn't have a spot on this team. I've said that a lot. Even seeing Hicksy this preseason and being like, I'm ready to go. Let's get it. I'm going to try to get better. I know you have to say that.
Yeah.
But it's like one of those things that's good to hear. And you're like, Aaron Hicks has been around for a while.
The way I look at things as a Yankee fan, I will never root. I mean, when you're in the season, you're in the season, you're always critical and you want people to perform a certain way and you get pissed off if certain people are not doing well. In spring training, it feels like everybody gets that benefit of the doubt. I mean, everybody from IKF, in my opinion, from IKF to Hicks to Donaldson, whoever. I want you to do well.
Right.
It's up to you to kind of I start up here with everybody.
Yeah.
And then depending on how you play, you kind of it's kind of like you go to school, right? And you get that one teacher that says, I'm starting you guys off with 100. Who's going to keep it? And then you miss an assignment or you start missing stuff and you start kind of
right.
coming down on your grade. And before you know it, you got to repeat because it's a life memory. Summer school.
I did summer school too. Accounting. I use that a lot.
Accounting?
Yeah, dude. No idea what I was doing. Or actually, I'd done 2 summer schools. Anyways, let's go back. The other thing that I missed that I want to hit before we fully get into pitch clock and some of the other fun stuff that's going on. That Volpe kid looks like he might be all right, Joe's.
Yes.
Judge playing left field. Are we buying into that at all? Does that become real? Because, how many games in left field would Judge have to play this spring training for us to be like, oh, this might be a
They're
part
going to
of the
actually
plan?
use this.
You know what I'm saying?
That's true. It's about how many times in spring training they do it, but the Yankees at the same time would start somebody in a brand new position in a playoff game. So I don't even know. I honestly don't know. I think it's real because you want to make your roster more flexible, and having Giancarlo play outfield doesn't put you in a spot where now you got to say, oh man, I can't play Donaldson or DJ and Glaber in the same game. I got to figure out, so it gives you more flexibility with the roster to play the best players out there that can hit. And I think Giancarlo does want to play the field, but
not playing Yankee Stadium left field. He's just not going to do that.
No, he's not doing that.
He can't. And
Yes.
that's
right
fine.
field's better. Yes.
I guess on the Judge part, it's like as long as we see him do it at all, I'll believe it's something they're holding on to at least in their back pocket. But we haven't seen him play center field in spring training games. He did it a lot last year, so I kind of don't even need to see it more than the once.
But I guess that's true. But he got thrust into center field.
Yeah, it was circumstances.
And I don't want him to get thrust into left field. And if you're Aaron Judge, and I guess that's the thing where I'm still a little gung-ho on the topic is the fact that they talked about it first day of spring training, and I think you and Jimmy covered this a little bit, but why would you even put that in the ether if it's not something that's going to happen?
Right.
And he looked serviceable. He was solid in center field. We know the metrics didn't like him, but we also know Judge doesn't lay out in the regular season anymore because he hurt his ribs that way, and we'd rather have a single dunk in and have him for the next 4 weeks than lose him. Left field would be interesting. He's got that strong arm. I do think.
I want to see how that plays in left field.
Well, no, it's funny. This isn't a shot at Aaron Judge. It is a short porch. So his. A lot of those right fields are 330. So the arm would look a little different. Don't get me wrong. It's still a cannon.
And it's accurate. And it
throws
never
to
looks
second.
like max effort.
Never.
Looks like max effort.
I don't know, man. I guess I need to see him at least play left field twice this spring.
Twice?
Okay.
Over and under.
I'd like to see it at least.
That's a pretty low bar, right?
Yeah.
But if you only do it once, and just to be like, this is something we might use in the regular season, I don't know. That seems like bad preparation to me.
Do you think they get weird on us and do it in one of the games that isn't on TV? They save it for that game?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. We're going to be getting a lot of Hoke videos. Whatever Yankees Twitter people are down there for that spring training. A little shaky hand video. Oh, Judge just threw a guy out at third.
That's a short throw.
I'm interested to see how that develops. Man, it's one of those funny things because it's then, okay, so if Stanton plays right field, Donaldson's at third, DJ's DHing. I don't know. The course of the season is still going to bring everything. There's going to be injuries. I was pretty big on there's going to be another transaction.
That can still happen.
It still
always
can.
can.
It just doesn't. I don't know.
Injuries
doesn't feel
happen.
Inevitable.
But injuries happen. For those that follow around the league, Gavin Lux
seen
had a
that.
breakout year for the Dodgers last year, running the bases and looked like a bad leg injury. I don't know if it was ACL or MCL or whatever, but that stunk. So we haven't even got thrust into any of those yet. But that was I guess that was interesting that they put it out there so early.
The same thing with, Volpe playing second base. I think that's real too. I think that they're open to doing that, whether I'm not saying to start out the season because there's so many options, but to keep the kid versatile. And he had the right answer too. He's like, I just want to play. I don't care where I play. So
let's do a little pitch clock because it is the biggest topic in baseball. Whether you're listening to Talkin Baseball today, Pinstripe Strong, Talkin Yanks, probably Farm to Fame, wherever else. The Compound. Ian Happ just tweeted out. What do you think? It is the biggest topic in baseball, the pitch clock. And it's brought to you by Cozy Earth, Joes.
Cozy Earth.
I mean, is there anything better? A little snow day. Maybe you grab a hot cup of Joe's. You put on your Cozy Earth clothing, men's loungewear with a variety of styles and colors. All season versatility, but I mean, for right now, what a time to get cozy on Earth. They also have some luxurious loungewear and pajamas for women that make for the perfect gifts this Valentine's Day. I think we flew past that, but maybe next Valentine's Day.
You can make your own Valentine's
You got
Day
an
too.
anniversary coming or
Make
something.
your own Valentine's Day with Cozy Earth. And by the way, they're giving you a roll discount. 35% off when you use code YANKS, baby. It's CozyEarth.com, code YANKS. Get yourself some comfies. I was so excited yesterday. Got home, just had some plans with some friends, and I just got cozy, bro. Cozy Earth. Watch a little Nick Seltz. CozyEarth.com, code YANKS, 35% off.
I don't want to blow up anyone's spot in our office, but one of the, because it could be a surprise gift for somebody. I don't know. One of the ladies in our office was like, "Hey, what's our Cozy Earth code and discount?" Because she's bought their PJs before.
Jimmy had Cozy Earth before we were partners with Cozy Earth. So that should tell you
Yes.
something.
And she got very excited when I told her.
Like that.
Code Yanks, 35% off.
The pitch clock has taken over baseball. This weekend on the internet was a hellstorm, maybe at your office or whoever you talk baseball with. You might have seen the highs and the lows of it. We saw every sports fan's worst case scenario happen. 3-2 pitch, bases yucked. Batter wasn't in there. Umpire calls a strike. Game over. Reminder, it ended in a tie because it's spring training. And
Right.
stuff doesn't really matter yet. We did a whole thing on Talking Baseball. Wake and Jake, like I said, everywhere. I think my going away elevator pitch, if I was talking to someone who's a baseball fan or even not really, who asked me about it, is it's going to be very good for the game.
Yes.
Right now, they're executing it by the letter of the law, which they cannot do that, and I don't think they will. That's my only little asterisk for now. But it's going to lead to a good thing for baseball. And Joe's, I know you're driving the boat on your team pitch clock.
I love this, right? In the beginning, it's going to be frustrating. You're going to get some of these situations. By midseason, you won't even notice it anymore because people will be so used to pitching at this pace. We did a little blitz ball. You were in here. We had a 1 second pitch clock. That wasn't fun, all right? I hope you guys don't like it. Look out for the video coming out soon, but whatever. But the pace of play, like when you're looking at it, you're watching a game, you know when I go to as a father, I'm going to look at it from this perspective. Taking my kids to a game or watching a game with them, this is great. You've been to a game with me, Jake, where Noah gets he's good. Once you get around that 8th inning, 9th, he starts to get a little kooky. Yeah. Extra innings, forget it. Forget it. And I know, it's kind of like, oh, you're supposed to love the game. I love the game when it's being played. There's a lot of this stuff where you're just standing around, not doing anything. So if it's eliminating that, the fluff,
right?
Give me the game that I love.
And I was seeing some comments in the Talkin' Baseball comment section yesterday. People saying like, well, it doesn't show that there's actually an increase in action. It's like, well, it's going to cut down on this much time, and it's the same amount of action. Right. So it's a much higher percentage of what you're watching being the game.
Right.
And the other thing with that is, more action, which, again, a true baseball fan saying they aren't clamoring for more action, and I get that to a degree. A good baseball game is still a good baseball game. We're cutting off some of the fluff, man. When you're eating your steak and you see the fat, we can get rid of a little bit of it.
Right.
And I think that's what we're trying to do. And I think with the shift stuff being gone, like there's not a person in the world, because that's how I like to look. I like to get everyone's perspective on it to see what I'm missing and see where it lands. the defensive players shifting to different positions in between pitches is horrific. Like third baseman traveling across the infield to go train.
Yes.
You don't need that. And with the shift stuff, they've gotten rid of that, and there's going to be more hits. With the pitch clock, the pace of play is going to be better. I will say, and I'm giving a little line of defense to the people that are fighting this with everything they've got. It's the enforcement of the rule, and how hard are they going to enforce it? Because if I've got a pitcher mid-windup and you call time just because that half second went away, that's going to stink, and it's not going to be good for the game. So I think they're enforcing it now, and I'm hoping they're not going to be enforcing it later.
They have to enforce it like that, too.
That's how you have to teach people the rule. That's kind of how life works a little bit, right? The other thing I will say, I do hope this doesn't go too far the other way. Like I think our Talkin Baseball account tweeted out last night that I think the game was like 2 hour, 11 minutes. And it'd be nice in the regular season. You'd get, one of those every couple weeks and you're like, oh, damn. Like pitchers duel, they were just twirling it. Maybe a little getaway day, ump with a big zone. And you're like, okay. I don't want that to become the norm. And I don't think it's gonna. I think the early results, our games are 22 minutes shorter, which I think that's from like 3:06 to 2:00.
I seen 2:37 average.
So I'm interested to see what develops, and I think whatever side you're on this, if you love the pitch clock is your baby. You want to marry the pitch clock, good for you. If you hate the pitch clock, you think it's everything that's wrong with baseball. There's going to be more addendums to this, and we're going to figure that out. And maybe it is a late inning addendum. Maybe it is maybe the clock gets moved to 17 and 22. Like that, those numbers are loose. So
or it's just be in motion by that time. You
yeah,
have to have it fired off.
That's where I think we're going to end up landing. And the part that's been making me laugh the most, and I think James Smythe had it first, toeing the slab. They're talking about it too. There was already a rule in baseball that there was a 12-second pitch clock. The rule just never got enforced.
It's one of the original rules.
Yeah, it's in the book.
12 seconds is kind of like crazy.
I mean,
fast.
that's old. That's some old 1912
That's how fast they used to
BS.
play.
So that's
Bob
where
Gibson.
In the 80s, they were releasing it this often.
You know what it was? The pitchers were enforcing it.
Yeah,
Bob
they
Gibson
wanted
says,
to.
"Get in the box."
I'm throwing the ball. And that's where your guy, Evan Longoria, also tweeted out, if this is a true pitch clock, why do we care about the hitter?
Right.
Maybe there's going to be a rule someday that if there's 8 seconds left on the clock and the hitter's not in the box, the pitcher can throw it.
I guess the one thing, if a ball gets away from the pitcher and it's going at his head and he's not looking, that's kind of like scary.
At the hitter?
At the hitter, if he's not looking. I mean, it's his fault.
I
Why
know,
are you
but
not looking at the pitcher?
You got to be ready to
You got to be ready. You got to be ready.
So, if you're on either end of the spectrum on this, take some breaths. This is week 1. I think the minor leagues, when they initially installed this, it took 2 weeks to really settle in. And we're going to land in a better place with it. And guess what? There's probably going to be a moment in a Yankee game you hate this year when a ball gets called.
Yeah.
We got some of the stats, and we got a bunch of quotes from the Yankees. I know, Beebs, is there the best spot on the sheet for this? Because I know we were talking about Johnny Lasagna. Johnny Lasagna was one of the slowest pitchers.
We can look at while we're on the topic of minor leagues and how that's adjusted. They pretty quickly they got accustomed to the rules, and at this point,
they did.
Most players, especially young ones, played with it at some point.
And
we said that while it was announced.
From what I've seen from the minor leagues, it has not affected their runs per game. It has not affected their batting average per game. It's the offense is still the same. It's just that it's now being not condensed, but because I watched yesterday's Yankee game, Jake. And to be honest, I'm watching the pace of play. My worry is I don't want the game to feel rushed.
Right.
It did not feel rushed. It felt like a normal game. It just felt like it just ended quicker. When I look at 8th inning, I was like, okay, it's a normal 8th inning. But then I look at the time and I said the game started at 6:35, and it's 8:30.
Yeah.
You know, it just hit 2 hours. I was like, wow, that's a little crazy. And for a lot of people say, I love my 3-hour games. Guys, think dog days, think summer, think Royals, Yankees like Royals or something like that. Tuesday.
Yeah. I think that'll the first Boston series will be a big test, right? Because how accustomed have we gotten to a Red Sox series? You're like 4-hour minimum.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
And at the same time, again, all the pitch clock haters, like, I'm with you. A good Yankees-Red Sox 4-hour, 14-minute game.
A 4-hour
Some of
game
those
can
have been
still have a
awesome.
good pace.
Yeah, they could.
Some of them have been bad. So it's something to watch out for. I think Yankees-wise, and just some stats from you guys from last year, Jonathan Loaizaga was one of the worst pitchers in the league with tempo. I think these are seconds, right? I think
so.
26 seconds.
That's a long time.
That's a long time. And he does his little leg lock thing. Clay Holmes. Chapman was really slow too, but
not a Yankee.
Not a Yankee.
he slipped off the Yankees.
That seems like a Kansas City Royal.
Clay Holmes and
None
Mike
of our business.
Clay Holmes and Mike King weren't
Right.
necessarily quick. I do think the Yankees starting pitchers, Nestor was one of the quicker players in baseball, but he was right at 15 seconds. So this is a big adjustment throughout the league. Nestor,
I am surprised they went to 15 this quick. Like I figured, this is going back a couple years. I figured they'd go to a tempo that most guys are already hitting, and it'll cut off. It'll make the relievers all speed up. Relievers generally slower than starters, high leverage and late and all that. But yeah,
It's crazy because I think that maybe this will, with this whole pitch clock thing and the 15 seconds, you can't just, I don't think at least, you can't just sit out there and just chuck it as hard as you can every single you're going to be gassed. You got to like reserve some things, So I wonder if that'll be more like a pitchers will just worry more about executing and location and kind of like Mark Burley situation rather than let me throw it as hard as I can and hit 102 or whatever it is.
I'm really interested to see, we saw the implementation of PitchCom. And by the way, I fought that a little bit. It felt unnatural. It didn't feel like baseball. And then got used to it pretty quick. I still think we're seeing more changes this year, and I think we're going to see even more with it because anytime you do something new, that's kind of how it works, right? You learn and you adjust and you go from there. I think it's going to be interesting. Your game plans need to be tight. Like
Sevy had a pitch thing on his waist, kind of calling the game a little bit.
And we saw, the famous clip that went around last year was Trevino and Nestor during the All-Star game talking. You're going to be able to do that via robot. How ugly is that going to get sometimes? Sevy just yamming the fastball and Trevy's just yamming the slider.
they're showing Scherzer with the wristband yesterday. That was the iteration of it we're seeing.
So I'm interested to see how those conversations go. And, I think the biggest thing, baseball thrives in the big moment. My heart did sink when it's 3-2 bases loaded in that Red Sox-Braves game and a pitch doesn't get thrown. That breaks my heart.
I didn't like that.
That breaks my heart. Yeah. But I think they're doing that now to be better later. And that's how you have to believe it for now. So we
they have to do the penalty of the pitch and of the strike and ball because I think for the Yankee Red Sox thing was like a real big issue. And do you remember that one time where MLB said, we're going to fine you? And David Ortiz said, well, I'm getting fined every at-bat. It's like, you're going to find these millionaires money. It's like, so it's only money. I just stay in the box. But if you penalize somebody strike or ball, nobody's going to be that selfish to their team.
Right.
And what Machado
hurts
says.
the team, hurts their numbers.
Yeah. And to hurt the team, hurt your numbers, hurt your chances of you helping your team. I mean, nobody's going to do that, so you'll make an adjustment quick.
So going to some of the players even more, and tread careful with these two names. IKF had some pretty good quotes about the pitch clock.
Okay.
He said he was talking to Volpe because they've been using it in the minor leagues. So they were talking some base running and stuff like that, which you kind of love that. And that's some of the fun spring training stuff, right? Like, hey, that's what this is. We've got a bunch of guys here. You've been playing with the minor league clock. Give me some of that. Like, you want anything from me? I got you too. So it's going to be interesting to see.
Steals will go up this year.
Base running is going to be nuts, man.
Nuts.
Between the bigger bases, and there's going to be ripple effects from the pitch clock. If you're a speedy base runner and you see the pitch clock is down to 2, you can get a step. And if you get that jump, you might be gone. And we got bigger bases too. The action in baseball, I guess here's what I would ask baseball fans. And this, maybe this comes off a little sports talk radio. Maybe it doesn't. Joe's, you're a big baseball fan. Same with you, Beebs.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys like base running?
I do.
Baseball is making more of an effort to get more base running in the game.
I don't like how they're forcing that by saying the pitcher.
The pickoffs?
The pickoff thing is a little weird for me because I don't know. It just feels like, the advantage goes to the base runner a lot if he throws over once.
Right.
Because if you throw over again, then I think if you throw over a third time, you have to pick him off or else it's a balk.
Think so.
Yeah.
Is that it?
You see,
No, I was nervous about that rule going into like announcing like, oh, you can only throw over twice, because I was like, well, you are gonna be able to just run like crazy, and you won't the way it's written. Like you can't take a foolish lead and get picked off.
Okay.
Because you can still get out there. But if you make it back, you get second.
One of my
I think
favorite
it's perfectly written.
moments of this spring so far. Watching MLB Network, Yankees, Jays. Keeping spring training. So you're looking at the phone. You're might have even taken a little cat nap. I wake up, Davy Garcia, runner on second. I'm like, oh, Davy, let's have a spring, Davy.
Yes.
Come on.
Yes.
Let's have a spring.
I only believe in something.
Don't give up the broken bat single here. Picks off the runner on second. I was like,
that.
Let's go,
yes,
Davey.
I like that.
Let's go.
Good for Dave.
Kaster had some quotes. He was like, the broadcasters won't be able to do their meandering stories anymore. I think they'll still find a way.
Biggest crime is Michael Kay not saying an unmanageable 4 hours and 50-minute game.
Yeah.
He loves saying unmanageable.
Judge had his quote when they brought the shot clock into basketball. People had to learn to adjust.
Could
He
you imagine
took
watching
that-
basketball with no shot clock? 2 points. He's holding the ball, just passing it.
They were just
brutal.
playing keep away, man. I do think, giving signals and stuff, Booney was talking about that. It's going to be interesting, and we're all going to have to learn with it. And I think the thing that baseball does deserve, and I think sometimes people wonder, like, how close are we with baseball and stuff like that. I think we show it. We're pretty fair, and we can be tough on them as anyone. Baseball has proven in recent years they will try to adjust on the fly. Look at the sticky stuff.
Yeah.
That was mid-season.
Yeah.
Like, they had an owners meeting, and 2 weeks later, they were like, sticky stuff, we're addressing it. Now, sticky stuff came back a little bit, and they're addressing that more firmer this year, which that is something to watch, by the way.
It is.
What was that look, Joe?
I'm really, pitchers found new places to hide it. Where did you put the sticky stuff? Sticky nuts. Where'd you put it?
Yankees got some light colored jerseys, so I'm not worried about it.
No, I'm just saying. I'm just thinking about where was people putting it?
Yeah.
Everywhere.
I think they stopped checking the old spots.
Everywhere. People unbuckling their belts. So that's the pitch clock thing. Again, if you're fiending on this and you want more, literally all of the John Boy Media baseball shows, it's the biggest topic. It's a big change.
Huge.
People don't love change.
It's the one that's the biggest immediate adjustment
I don't
you gotta
think
make of any of these.
I don't think any baseball fan likes seeing the massive pitch clock. We give a lot of love to the yes. That was when pitch clock got mentioned. That was one of my first things. I don't want to see it, and I don't want my pitcher or hitter like really seeing it. Maybe the pitcher.
Yeah, the pitcher.
Dude, if I was a hitter, that's my nightmare. Like seeing a ticking clock as I look at a pitcher trying to get me out. I hate that. So
I mean, but I guess they need to be
you
able
kind
to
of
see
need
it.
to know. But you just need to designate it in the right areas of stadium. So it's going to be a learning curve. Let's see.
Oh, are we gonna hear about the first stadium? It's like, well, their clock's in a weird spot, and
1,000%.
Yeah.
It'll be Tampa.
The score bugs, absolutely Tampa. The
Oakland.
the scoreboard bugs, you gotta find a subtle way to put it in there and only start it at like 8 seconds.
Yes
or
Network
something.
crushed it.
Yeah,
They crushed it.
Yes Network crushed it.
There's
When it
some
gets to,
people
like,
that
10.
had it at it was like a 24-second shot clock. I was like, what is that? I don't want to see that. It looks ugly.
You know, we obviously love the Yes.
If you're gonna have it the whole way, it's got to be very subtle.
We screwed the pooch. For Jimmy's birthday, I should have talked to Yes Network and had them do their different demos for the pitch clock on the score bug. That would have been Jimmy's dream birthday present.
That yes.
You were busy on
I
his
screwed
birthday.
up. I screwed up. I'm sure we're going to be talking about that a lot more throughout spring training as we have these different moments come up. Joe's.
Oh, before you move on to something else, I understand why they're gonna do it. I was having this talk with my brother last night. Like, man, like kind of every game all year, first year of it, it's like gonna be what they talk about.
Yeah.
I understand fully why they got to do it.
Yeah.
Like they have to bring it up at some point every game. You never know whose first game of the year it is, but like, ooh, that's gonna get old quick.
Yeah. I mean, there's going to be a lot of pitch clock talk. So
A lot of pitch clock.
either way,
We're not done yet.
Either way, buckle up for it.
Jake,
Yeah.
so much has changed. If you watch baseball,
Right?
2019
Yeah.
to now, way different.
Yeah.
Like so much. It's I don't know.
3 batter
Pandemic.
minimum, stuff like that.
Juice balls.
Jimmy's been on that. I think 3 batter minimum might go away one day. Because that was
It kind of didn't do it.
kind of a speed up the game thing that doesn't really work.
It doesn't. It kind of
The way the Yankees do it, it's created more stoppages because they just change in the middle of an inning
Yeah.
in case they decide to whatever.
Let's do some early spring training overreactions because that's what we're good at.
Wait.
Some stuff you maybe like shouldn't even bet on.
If some of
but-
you don't know how much of a sicko Joe's is, he was watching the replay this morning of last night's spring training game that he watched.
Yeah.
You could go to DraftKings and you can bet on anything really. NBA's rolling. Watched New York versus Boston last night. Fun game. 6-0.
Boston was upset.
6-0 since the trade deadline in the Garden. They're the official sports betting partner of the NBA. We're also going to do our Talkin Yanks over-unders with Joe soon. We do a Talkin Baseball one. You can bet $5 on any pregame moneyline bet, and you get $150 in bonus bets if you do. They've got their parlays. I've seen Joe's laying out some big parlays.
The Lakers pissed me off. Oh my God.
Download the app now and sign up with code YANKS. New customers can place $5 on any pregame moneyline bet and get $150 in bonus bets if your team wins. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code YANKS. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. Joe's. I tweeted out jokingly, I think it's so funny with spring training, especially that reverse bell curve. Like, in a week or two,
Yeah.
we're going to be so ready for the start of the season and kind of over, that first injury probably happens. And you just want to get guys healthy to the start of the regular season. And you've seen enough at bats. And we'll be asking for one thing. We'll be like, oh, I'd love to get one Stanton homer and then we can start the regular season. Like, that's what spring training turns into.
The one difference for me this year is World Baseball Classic might kind of fill in that gap for me.
Ooh, okay. I
Where
like that.
you'd feel like, I'm over spring training. I got no other. So now we get to watch like some intense baseball for World Baseball Classic.
That'll help.
I like that. That being said, we're so thirsty for baseball that these early spring training games come. And you're locked,
Yes.
right? You need it. We've been missing it for so long. Our daily routines have been changed. That I tweeted out 2 Yankees have earned their job so far. Trevino, he hits the grand slam.
Yes.
And it's like, okay, he's ready for opening day. Like, Trevi, after that swing, he has to do nothing till opening day.
Doesn't even need to
He's
frame a
fine.
pitch.
Like I was making myself laugh because he could literally go homerless the rest of spring, and we'd all be like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like he already homered. Like we're good. He checked the box. Jasson Dominguez. Now there will be more eyes on him throughout spring training.
He looks like a starting left fielder.
Joe's. But I thought it was funny, hitting that homer from the right side. He has the people talking. Volpe did some big stuff. I guess spring training, and we'll say this a lot over the next couple weeks, it doesn't matter. There's pitchers out there that are, hey, I'm only throwing fastball today. I'm getting my arm loose.
And then there's Clarke Schmidt and what he did.
And then there's Clarke Schmidt, which maybe, how about we start there, Joes? Because Clarke Schmidt came out, who's in one of the few, you could say it's a genuine battle of this spring training, currently between him and Domingo Germán. And I was going to say this because I know, Montas went down and Jimmy's been on a starting depth kick, and, you can always use more starting depth. I do think it's funny. You want to go into spring training with 7 or 8 starting pitchers, and Montas went down. You do have to have him in the equation as one of those 7 or 8.
Yeah.
He's one of the 7.
Like he's one of those guys that went down.
Yeah.
So he's part of the equation. So it's not, if you add another, that turns into 8 or 9. Either way, Domingo Germán and Clarke Schmidt are in what feels like a somewhat genuine battle right now for that last rotation spot. Clarke Schmidt comes out 2 innings, 5 Ks.
Yeah.
And pumping a cutter.
That cutter is nice.
He's talking a lot about it, too.
That was one of my favorite things in sports, or in baseball, I should say, is when you have one thing you have to work on, especially as a young player, and you go address that. Because there's a couple things going on here. Clarke Schmidt had a very nice year last year.
Yes, he did.
3.12 ERA, 29 games, 57.2 innings, mostly bullpen. Clarke Schmidt had one significant weakness. Lefties handled him a lot better than righties.
And he had options. That was like...
That was his biggest offense.
That was another one of his weaknesses.
I went down to the minors. I said, you don't belong here.
Yeah.
He said...
Clarke Schmidt added a cutter this offseason, which we've seen a few Yankee pitchers in the recent years try to work on the cutter. It's usually that...
You show up to spring, you add something.
It's usually that power sinker or the cutter in the Matt Blake pitching school. He showed up with a cutter that the RPMs on it were very similar to Corbin Burns' cutter, which is one of the best pitches in baseball. Again, that's a little bit too much spring training.
Getting giddy.
But
spin rate not the same as spin efficiency, all that.
the Clarke Schmidt hype train may have picked up a little bit. We haven't done his PPP, right?
Not yet.
And those have been rolling out, and I hope you guys have been enjoying them.
We might be recording his tomorrow, but it would come out in a couple weeks.
I guess where this all lands, Joe's, and we'll do Clarke Schmidt, is, as Yankee fans, I think sometimes we get a little greedy, and that's good. Greedy's a good way to be better and win. Clarke Schmidt, who came into this arguably as our 7 starter, like if you had Montas as the 5, Domingo as the 6, Clarke as 7, and him and Domingo could flip-flop very easily.
Very easily.
There's a lot of teams where they would be crazy excited for Clarke Schmidt this year.
Yeah.
He pitched pretty well last year. He's going to be 27 years old. I mean, you're the number 1 hype guy in the world, so I don't even really know why I'm asking, but Clarke Schmidt has a chance this year.
I messaged him immediately after his
God,
shake.
You were in Clark's DMs.
I messaged him right away. I said, in your bag, you killed it. This is gonna be your year, Actually, it's funny because I was talking to Casey, which is actually the husband of
Kelsey Winger.
Yeah,
Lynch.
something is Kelsey Winger, and he's like, yeah, I know.
Yeah, they're boys.
Yes, this is my boy. I know him. Root for him. I was like, yeah, I was talking to him about you during Jake's wedding. I was like, yo, I want this to be your year. He said, yup, just a start, breakout year. So
That works for me.
I'm with that. Get the cutter, get that knuckle curve,
Yeah.
locate the fastball. You're already used to the fast pace. It was a blessing in disguise. You went down there last year. Now you got used to that pitch clock. You got a leg up on other people. Let's go. Eat.
I mean, how awesome would it be? Just big picture Yankees talk. You know,
Develop a pitcher?
Sevy's coming off the books. They got Rodon and Cole on big contracts. Clarke Schmidt just emerges as like fully a big league starter, let alone if he's a very good one or not. If he's just fully part of our rotation plans moving forward for the next 5 years.
I guess the only thing.
How great would that be?
The only thing we have to be a little nervous about, Clarke does still have one option, and Domingo does.
Oh, and they'll use it.
Domingo does not. That being said, there's still some room in the bullpen, and for years I've been talking about Domingo, Herman, and there's not a ton of room in the bullpen.
They'll both make starts this year.
I love. I'm so excited for this year's starting rotation.
I am too.
I haven't felt this way in I don't know ever. I always feel going into a year, I'm always thinking, who are the Yankees going to acquire starting pitching wise at the deadline? If things play out and pieces land in, and let's just say even Clarke gets it going and you get Montas back, you're talking about the Yankees in a market where everyone's always looking for starting pitchers. Yankees can trade a starting pitcher for something else.
Right.
And you can get back whatever the hell you want. I would love that.
Let's get there. I do think, for Montas, and Jimmy talked about, Jimmy's been out on Montas basically since day one. And
that's fine.
Right now he's looking all right on that.
Understandable.
I do think I think a little bit of his current timeline is funny business. I think the Yankees are doing he might come back as trade deadline kind of insurance. Okay. So when Cashman takes calls this deadline, he says, "Oh no, Montas is on his way back."
I don't need.
Yeah.
It's like when they trade someone else, they're saying they will also say, Montas will come back, so we have
I think that's
depth to work with.
little-
They'll play that card.
little funny business insurance, which I don't, I get, but yeah, I'm, I can be a pretty optimistic cat sometimes. I won't see Montas until I see him this year. But for Clarke Schmidt, that was an exciting debut. A guy that spring training does matter for him more than a few other guys.
Yes.
And yeah.
Yankees will be looking at different numbers than we're looking at. Like they're gonna look at quality of pitch stuff more than like what his ERA in spring is.
Right, and that that cutter stuff. Clarke Schmidt's a guy
if that's real,
who gets in the lab, and we saw Mike King kind of fully break out last year in a different role. It was an exciting debut for him. The other guys that everyone is going to be talking about are the kids. I mean, Peraza, Volpe, Dominguez.
He looks like a big leaguer, Jake. He does. He's coming off the field, and I'm looking at him. I'm like, he looks like a big leaguer. You know when they have that look?
I'd do anything to get Cashman with some truth serum for like 25 minutes, man. Like I would
We don't
love.
even have to record it. Don't even record it.
I would love to genuinely know, where does he see Peraza, Volpe, and Dominguez? Are they Yankees or not? Because Joe's, there's times when I catch myself dreaming, and I say, "Damn, man, like this could be next, right? Like this could be the next crop." There's other times when,
if any two of those,
when I listen to the previous trade deadline episode, and we're talking about what got traded for Gallo, and we're talking about what got traded for Sonny Gray. There was a time when Mateo and Caprillion were pretty big prospects. There was who was the biggest prospect in the Gallo trade? Because there was Smith, Duran.
They went for four.
They've been doing the mass trades.
They went for four outside the top five rather than any of their top
Didn't they give
four.
that guy, that pitcher?
Glenn Otto was in there.
Otto, yeah. Glenn Otto.
I don't know.
Glenn
I
pitched.
I catch myself flip-flopping a lot on it because I want these guys to be next in the future. But also, like we talk about with prospects, will they get the true opportunity to play with the Yankees? Because Mateo and Caprillion would have not. It's just honest.
Yeah.
Like, we're talking about them in 2022, and those trades happened in 2017. So
Right.
you have to be real with yourself a little bit that, I don't know. I know Cashman has to have a poker face.
I have a feeling.
Plans can change a lot and very quickly.
Yeah.
It seems like they're in on these kids, but what kind of timeline are we talking about? Because, Joe's, you've been telling me about Jason. Well, we've all heard about
Yes.
Jasson Dominguez for how long?
Yeah, for too long.
When was he signed? As a 16-year-old?
Yes.
So that's what, 3-4 years ago
I've
now?
known about him since before the Yankees signed him, and I wanted the Yankees to sign him.
I've heard you talking about him as our left fielder since last year. That this guy could very well just be a double-A guy this year. And that would be a good path for him still. I almost can't hear the next words out of your mouth.
Okay.
Signed in 2019 when he was 16, which
Jeez.
is 20 now.
He's raked. You guys got to keep in mind also, all of these kids lost a year of minor league time, 2020.
They missed a year
Very
of playing
true.
in any games.
And the fact that he did what he did in last year, I'm impressed. Okay? I thought that maybe the Yankees may speed track him and put him in, they don't really like to speed track the kids.
Anyone.
They might speed track Spencer Jones a little because of how.
He's a little older.
College guy.
Senior.
But for those young kids, they don't like to do that.
Dominated last year, by the way.
I kind of want to see the Yankees do a little brave thing, man. Be a little brave, like the Braves. Bring up a kid that's not expecting to be called up.
A kid.
Maybe I'm not saying now out of spring training, but mid-season you call up a Jason if he's earned it.
Somebody goes down and he's playing well. Like, let's see it.
If he's raking, bring him up. Let him play. Mid-season, Jake.
Von Grisham and Michael Harris won Rookie of the Year. Called up from Double-A. Like,
The Yankees don't do that. Other teams do.
Be a little brave.
but it's by a good team who's
Yes.
in the same
Good
tier as the
team.
Yankees, if not better.
I don't know. I think unfortunately that's enough Jasson Dominguez. 'Cause we don't know, man.
Excited to see some.
There's no track record. The kid is so young. He's 20. Switch hits.
That's the
Outfield.
exciting part.
I know, and it's awesome, and I hope the hype train continues. For now, like you said, because Joe's, as you know better than any of us, as you slide in a lot of Yankees guys' DMs, as we're finding out,
It's not what it seems, guys.
you and Peraza are boys, and
Yes.
Peraza, Joe's, you were on this first.
Yes.
It was his first time playing in cold weather last year, and he was pretty firm on that's why he got off to a slow start, and the Yankees got off to a hot start, and they didn't need him. Then they kind of did, but because of his slow start, I think the Yankees wanted to see more. He got hotter. We all know how the rest of it played out. So there's going to be a little bit of that with Jasson Dominguez because he should
That's
be
true.
at Hudson Valley.
I think all the Yankees minor leagues are in cold, except for Tampa.
Yeah, which are the kids that are furthest away.
But he played in High A, which High A is they actually flip flop Tampa, and High A is now in cold weather. No,
High A's
Hudson Valley?
Hudson
Yes.
Valley.
Hudson Valley. So the Yankees strategically changed their minor leagues so that people can start experiencing
Get
the
some
cold,
cold. Yeah,
earlier.
right.
Um,
Anthony Volpe.
love it, love him.
He's awesome. I know you're not supposed to do this. I know everyone's already been doing it. The way he runs the bases, the way he acts,
He's Mr. Yankee.
how control he is in the batter's box, dude. He looks unflappable.
Yeah,
I know we shouldn't be doing this. I know it,
he looks like a leadoff hitter.
but we also are.
Yeah, we are.
Dude,
Want to?
he
He's
stole
fast.
second on a pitch out and was in
He's
by a
blur.
mile. And then he stole on the next pitch, third base. When's the last time you saw a Yankee do that?
Like I figured he was closer to fast than slow. I figured he had good speed, but dude, that kid fly. He got to second base on that double.
Played a little shortstop.
I couldn't believe
He
it.
threw out a guy at home from second base the
it.
other day. And
Accurate throw.
He's a storyline, man. And
like him a lot.
he's a real storyline.
Like a real
I don't
storyline.
know where Dominguez is as a real storyline, and I'm sorry. I know that hurts you a little bit.
All right. So, fair.
Volpe is a very
Yes.
real storyline.
Yes.
Volpe right now MLB.com is the fourth best position player, and all four above him or everybody above him has like debuted. He's the best one that hasn't debuted.
I'm excited for him too. Okay.
I gotta see him sometime this year, man.
We
yeah.
will. We
Yes.
will.
It seems like we're heading that way.
He played 22 games in AAA last year.
Got his taste.
To the Yankees would like more seasoning, I bet. But I would love for him to start like really raking, like just get super hot and make the decision super tough for the Yankees.
And that's what's going to be interesting because we'll see if a trade happens. We'll see if an injury happens. In a weird way, the Yankees infield is already crowded.
Yes.
You know? Like, I know we talked about maybe Judge plays left and that opens up the DH. They're going to play Josh Donaldson at third. DJ LeMahieu is making his debut tomorrow, I believe, at second base.
Yes.
Gleyber Torres has one position he plays.
Yes.
Second base.
Yes.
Now, DJ's getting older, and, you know, he probably should have some DH days and stuff like that. But
There'll be some splits between him and Rizzo,
like
too.
I
He'll go
just
to first
talked
the days
about,
Rizzo isn't there.
I'm not going to believe in Judge playing left field until I actually see it. You know, I know the early days of the baseball season the Yankees handle as an extended spring training, and I don't mind it. Like, get guys into the rhythm and all that. But, you know, a week or two, and then I need Rizzo in there every day. I'm going to need Stanton in there every day. That we already have a little bit of an infield logjam.
And even with like knowing like an injury will happen, that sorts itself out. Even with one injury, they're still crowded.
That if Anthony Volpe got called up tomorrow, who's not playing?
Well, somebody's off the roster. There would be a trade. Another infielder would be getting traded.
We know how the Yankees operate, and he's going to need the time in AAA this year. They like to overseason him a bit, which is
Does he?
Which is fine. That's how the Yankees are going to think about it.
If they call him up in May, because now there's those Rookie of the Year rules. I know that's greedy, but he's supposed to be that kind of guy that he would be a potential top 2 Rookie of the Year, which if you don't know, the service time game we've talked about in previous years, if you achieve those rookie accomplishments, you get your service time.
You get credit for the full year, and the team gets an extra draft pick.
I was just gonna say, if Volpe goes nuts and they know he's part of the plans this year, there's no reason to not call him up. But the reason to not call him up is you already have
if you don't want
an
that
extra.
to expire.
You already have an extra and a half infielder.
But if they come the deadline,
I don't like the message that you send to kids if you don't bring them up because of like the possibility of that happening. But I think if we can get, even if you'll learn a lot by how the Yankees cut their roster, right? So first round the roster cuts to get guys more at bats. Second round the roster cuts. I think Volpe's going to be at the end, right? Where he's going to be at that last round of roster cuts. And that'll just tell him, hey.
You think so?
Yes, I think so. He'll be like that last
either
round
first
of
or
roster
last.
cuts.
Right. That's the other scary
They'll either
part.
do it just immediately and be like, we're not dreaming.
Right. Well, that to me is a message to tell you, hey, you were this close. We could have cut you earlier like some of these other guys. But you were here because we were actually considering you for this. We're going to go with, I don't know, Peraza. Or hey, it might be the other way around because he actually blew them away. And they may say, hey, Peraza, we'll send you back down. But I don't know. I think it's a good place to be in because I like actual position battles.
And we were just talking about how the Yankees, like, hey, if their rotation all goes well, rotation will be a place of depth. Everybody wants to start. And if they have, I mean, it's not what I want to happen, and I love them, but I think Glaber's value is not going to be higher than they tried to trade him once.
Right.
Like, if they believe in Volpe later in the year, I have to assume they're going to keep listening on Glaber with a year and a half
You gotta
left.
listen.
You got to listen on everybody.
Gotta listen.
That's the job, but they already tried to do it once, so I have to assume that's a card they can play. Not what I want to happen. We saw what happened to Glaber after it almost happened, then didn't. And Glaber himself is good and has looked good in spring.
Glaber's great. Do you think a transaction's coming?
I think yes. I think there's going to
A
be a spring trade.
significant transaction.
There's going to be a spring trade.
Okay.
The roster, remember we said, I don't know
remember
when it
what
was.
we said.
We had a conversation and we said, it feels like it's incomplete so far. Like the puzzle's not complete. You know?
There's extra pieces in certain areas of the puzzle.
Yeah, where it's like, why are we fitting
When there's
that?
like one or two we're missing one or two puzzle pieces.
Right.
Dodgers might need an infielder.
Anything can happen in spring training, and there's World Baseball Classic funny business where people can also, hopefully they don't, but anybody can get hurt as well.
Someone will. That's how it goes.
Joe's wrapping up. I got a text. One of my buddies, Jack, sent your tweet that was, I hate snow, man. The older I get. Trash NYC snow. SMFH.
Yes.
My buddy Evan said, someone get Joe's a P-tone.
I climbed the mountain.
You did climb a mountain.
I climbed the
Your
mountain.
first time hiking? Is that what
That's
you
my
said?
first
Your
time
first
ever
hike?
hiking, and that was it.
First time hiking.
I did see you say that. That's cool.
Insane.
How'd you do?
Actually, I did well. It took a little while to get up that mountain.
It's just kind of walking uphill.
I think coming down is a underrated,
Yeah.
bad time.
Yeah.
If it's
you got to have good
like
knees.
a steep down, it can be.
Got to have
that'll
good
get
knees.
you.
You got to put on the
Right.
brakes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but then that's cool. Would be cool to have some pitons.
I'm a reckless downhill guy, though.
You know, the guy told me the record.
Oh, it's quick.
He said 48 minutes total.
Yeah. How long it take you?
4 hours
Oof.
total. 4
That's
hours.
a real hike.
4 hours,
It's a
40
good
minutes.
day.
It's a real hike. You okay?
Yeah, no, I'm good. Actually, it felt empowered
Did you use your legs or your hips afterwards?
many times. And then after that, for us to do that 11, 1 second pitch clock blitz ball was not good. I was out.
That was your return.
lot of good blitzball content coming. A lot of good Yankees content coming. Thank you, Joe's McFly. Thank you,
You're
Davis
out.
Wimbledon. John, we will see you, I think,
Thursday. Yeah, we have another episode coming. Unless
And
you wanna
again-
squeeze it in tomorrow.
almost 1 month till live Yankees baseball against Carlos Rodon, San Francisco Giants. Might be a couple
Arson Judge.
Actually, Arson Judge is.
Might be a couple angry Giants fans. in the
Carlos
stands,
Correa.
huh? That second game. What is that? Saturday? Rodon on the bump. That might be
They
a
could
little.
have had
that could be a
Judge,
little hostile.
Correa,
Rodon.
Rodon.
Damn.
He got none of those.
Thank you, everybody. We love you. We'll see you soon. Let's go, Yanks. Tell them, Grandma.
Go Yankees.